Oh, Georgia Tech beat Miami. Holy cow.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us 1-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Korn, Kim McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Big game for us today. Big game against Miami tomorrow. And I'm excited about the opportunity we have in front of us, But this team's been battling all year long, and the people have hung with us, and they still got a chance to be on board for a good ride. Those that have bailed out, can't get back on board. But we've got a good group of fans, and a good group of people that believe in this team, and we certainly in our dugout believe in it. And we'll continue to keep on working hard and make our dreams come true.
Well, Jack Leggett says if you're not on his bandwagon, don't try to jump on now just because the Tigers won their ACC tournament opening game today. He says, we don't need you. We've got plenty of good fans supporting me and our team, and we don't want you to try to jump back on, as the Tigers got off to a little bit of a shaky start today in Greensboro, but they got it together about the second or third time through the lineup against a hard-throwing Duke starter, and they come away with a 5-3 win. Meantime, Miami loses to Georgia Tech, so the top seed there goes down today. And right now here at the SEC tournament in Hoover, the top seed Florida is down early to Kentucky, 2-0. So we've got a lot going on, lots to talk about. Good to have you with us. Phil Kornblut in Hoover at the SEC tournament. Kevin McCrary in Greensboro with the Tigers in the ACC tournament. Professor Tom Hayes and the state man Graham Pope back at our studios in Columbia. So let me go to K-Mac in Greensboro, and it was kind of a shaky start for the Tigers. They had a couple of misplays in the field. They didn't do much at the plate for the first couple of innings, but then they started stringing together some hits up the middle, overcame an early 2-0 deficit, and pretty much dominated that game from about the fourth inning on.
Yeah, Matthew Crownover was very solid, did make the mistake with the 2-run homer with 2 outs in the bottom of the second inning, but 10 hits for the Tigers. Tyler Krieger with a couple, Stephen Duggar with a couple, Garrett Bower with a couple of hits, so they got production from the top half and middle of their lineup. And Leggett keeps going back to that win over Boston College on Saturday. I know BC is not a great team, not even a very good team, not in this tournament, but that was a big win for them at the time, and they're riding that momentum. And now you mentioned, Corn, with Miami losing, if Clemson can beat Miami tomorrow, they're going to be in the driver's seat in this pool of the ACC tournament. They'll play the 9-seed Georgia Tech, who had to play in a game to get to that point. They'll have an opportunity, potentially, if they win tomorrow, to have the catbird seat for the ACC championship here on Sunday. How about that?
Who would have thought that? And with Miami losing, that has certainly got to give Clemson a lot of confidence, and they'll have Gossett going for them tomorrow afternoon. So if you're a Clemson fan, you got to like your chances.
Definitely so. And, of course, they showed some resiliency because Krieger, missing the plate, and I thought it was a bang play, but I thought he got the plate in the first inning for that one run. But Clemson did something today they haven't done a lot this season. They hit with men in scoring position, didn't try to do too much with the ball, and knocked a couple of right through the middle, back through the box for RBI singles.
All right, we're going to hit a break, and we'll catch you up on everything in just a moment.
Nicey. We survived the first break very well.
We take it break by break.
Rickson's good for 625.
Okay.
And I need the number of whoever we're dealing with for Big South rain delays.
Aaron Mark. So
Mark, got it.
Aaron Mark.
Gene Sapakov's going to have to push Control-Alt-Delete on his column if Clemson wins tomorrow night.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Winthrop had the somehow they had a malfunction with the sprinklers.
Yep.
My arms are kind of tired. Oh, there's the sprinklers. Whoops. All right, how long are you going to wait till you run Jack?
Probably do them in the second half hour. I'll let K-Mac tell us what's
Okay.
coming up, what he's got.
Do we want to do the Jack one-on-one first, or do we want to do the group thing?
I always like to do the group first and then do the one-on-one later.
Okay. Give me a second here to see if I can clean up that.
Yeah, you got time.
To clean up that. Oh.
Best fielding team in this country.
For us at that time, and a huge comeback for us. They moved a good baseball team. They moved they can beat anybody on any given day, and so we just got to go and prove it.
Miami tomorrow. You had a tough series down in Coral Gables, but
all of that stuff.
Next at home. They played us at home.
They jumped off. Yeah, they jumped off.
Against us, they got three really good left-handed starting pitchers, so they're going to be tough in this tournament. And we're going to face Diaz at home. They played us at home. They played very well against us. They got three really good.
Yeah, do let me fix this because I sound like an idiot when he corrects me. I'm like da 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 da.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm able to fix it completely, but I can make myself look less stupid than I actually am.
Today, McCreary. Today.
No, it's actually at home. They played us at home. They played very well against us. They got three really good left-handed starting pitchers.
I'm sure you can just cut it where you ask the question.
Yeah, and just let it not get correct.
Well, no. You said Coral. Well, everybody knows you're wrong.
Yeah, everybody will know. Miami tomorrow. You had a tough. I'll just say Miami tomorrow.
Miami tomorrow. Yeah.
A tough series down in Coral Gables, but another crack at that.
Played very well against us. They got three really good.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Played very well against us. They got three really good left-handed starting pitchers. So.
All right, here we go. Let me save as. All right, Pope, I'm sending you a new legged interview.
Make sure you play the right one.
I guess I can call it something different, so you don't get confused.
Legged revised, legged redux, one of those R words, revisited.
But the
legged
interview.
All right, stand by, gentlemen. Here we go. Hey, make sure you watch your text box corner. I forgot to tell you that.
I got it. It's open. All right, we're back with you on Sports Talk. Phil Kornblut here in Hoover, Alabama. Hello, John Whittle of the Big Spur. Good to see you. John Whittle here to take his place in the press box as the humble media from South Carolina makes its way to the what used to be known as the Hoover Met. It's now Regions Park here at Hoover, Alabama. South Carolina and Mississippi State, of course, the last game of the night tonight. Hopefully we'll get that thing underway somewhere around 8:30. What time is it now? 6:14. We're in the bottom of the second. Probably closer to 9 o'clock at the rate this game is moving. Jordan Montgomery, the Gamecocks ace, their standout lefty, will start for South Carolina. Mississippi State, as of late this afternoon, had yet to announce their certain starting pitcher. We are expecting it to be Trevor Fitz, who's a right-hander from right over here in Pelham, Alabama. He began the year as their number 3 weekend guy, eventually moved to their number 1 weekend spot, has started the last 5 weekends in the number 1 spot. He's 4-3, 2.59 ERA. He's worked 62 2/3 innings. He has struck out 55. He is allowing teams to hit 261 against him. He has thrown 11 wild pitches, and he's hit 7, so it appears to have a tendency sometimes to get a little bit wild. I would expect, however, that this will be a low-scoring game. These are two of the top defensive teams in the entire country. The two of them lead the SEC in defense. So you don't expect either of these teams to come out here and make a bunch of boneheaded mistakes in the field. Mississippi State, a winner last night in 10 innings over Georgia, 5-4. They only had to use two pitchers. They used Lucas Laster. He went 8 in the third, and then Jonathan Holder, he picked up the win. He went 1 2/3 innings to improve to 6-1. So they really didn't tax their pitching staff too much last night, even though they did go 10 innings. And so Mississippi State 36-20, coming in with an RPI of number 30 going into play today. And, of course, South Carolina sitting in the number 8 spot in the RPI. Their hopes got a little bit more of a boost today when Vanderbilt lost big to LSU 11-1. Winning pitcher was Jared Poche for LSU. He's 9-3. And so LSU just pounded the baseball. 15 hits. Just don't normally hear that against Vanderbilt pitching. But they had it going today offensively. And so Vanderbilt, which was, number 7, I think, in the RPI, that certainly is a blow to them. Miami losing today, a blow to Miami, trying to get into the top 8. Miami was, I think, number 12 in the RPI. So that all works in South Carolina's favor when those teams are losing around them. But here's the thing. You're South Carolina. You do control your own destiny. Win, and you're going to get a top 8 seed. So it's on their own shoulders. We'll have to see if the Gamecocks can rise to the occasion. The other game here this afternoon at the SEC tournament, Arkansas, which got a great pitching performance last night, got another good one today. They beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss, another team trying to play its way into a top 8 seed. So this is another bonus for USC with Ole Miss going down to Arkansas today, 2-1, 2-8-0 for Arkansas, 1-7-0 for Ole Miss, and 3 pitchers from Arkansas combined on a 7-hitter, with Chris Oliver picking up the win to go 8-4. So that's the story from here, with Kentucky leading in the bottom of the second, 2-0. What else happened at your place today, K-Mac?
Well, we know that Clemson did defeat Duke in that early game, and there was a little controversy, what a shock, on Twitter when I mentioned Duke was the number 4 seed, Clemson the 5 seed. So on paper and technically speaking, you'd call that an upset. I know that doesn't really fit well in people's brains when they think about Duke, but Duke entered this tournament as a number 4 seed, Clemson as a number 5 seed. So it was a big win for Clemson. And with Miami beating or losing to Georgia Tech, Georgia Tech's the 9 seed. They had to beat Wake Forest yesterday afternoon to get in 5-3. Clemson all of a sudden is in very good shape in this pool play format. This is our annual exercise in futility called trying to figure out pool play format at the ACC tournament. I can tell you Clemson is in Pool A, Miami is the number 1 seed, Duke is the number 4 seed. Both of those teams have a loss. Clemson is the number 5 seed, so by virtue, Clemson now in control of its destiny here in Pool A. Wake Forest is number 8 seed, and Georgia Tech is the 9 seed. Clemson will play Miami tomorrow and play Georgia Tech Friday. In Pool B, you have Florida State, Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina, and NC State. The late game tonight, North Carolina, a winner over NC State in a controversial game yesterday here in Greensboro. They'll take on the Seminoles at 7 o'clock, about 20 minutes or so. So Clemson, if they can beat Miami tomorrow night at 7 o'clock and then Georgia Tech Friday afternoon at 3, I would say regardless of what Wake Forest does, because Clemson is a higher seed with the tiebreakers, they'll be in very good shape to potentially make it a Sunday. That's a lot of potentials, and they still have to beat a Miami team that swept them at Doug Kingsmore, but nonetheless, not bad for Clemson.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, if they were to win these 3 games, they get Saturday off the way the schedule sets up. That's their day off. If they're still around, they get Saturday off, and they'll be set to go to play on Sunday with an extra day of rest in there. So things are setting up very nicely, but they've got to get by Miami tomorrow. But you feel like with Gossett going to the mound, regardless of the opponent, you've got a chance of winning. You mentioned the earlier games against Miami at Doug Kingsmore. The Tigers lost that series. They lost the first game 10-2. Second game, I'm sorry, they lost the first game 5-2. The second game in 12 innings, they lost 3-2. Then they got blown out in that last game 10-2. So, it's hard to beat a team 4 times in 1 year. It does happen, of course, and Miami will have a quality pitcher going for them. I guess, did they throw Diaz today, or are they saving him for Clemson?
I'll have to pull the box up, Corn. I think they were saving Diaz for the Tigers. I'll have to get my box back in front of me because I was busy preparing for the show and getting our story up and didn't get a chance to look at a lot of that game. I can tell you, that it's interesting, too. Clemson is in such unfamiliar territory going into this tournament. Perennially, they're one of the favorites to win this tournament. They've won it more than any team in the ACC, and almost always they know they're going to be in the postseason. They've made it every year except for one since 1986 into the postseason, but this is a year they entered this tournament unsure whether they were going to be in the postseason. Jack Leggett, for the first time in his tenure, taking serious slings and arrows. Yeah, you heard in the open him mentioning people jumping off the bandwagon and how they can't come back. They really have a chip on their shoulder in this tournament, unlike I've ever seen. Now, how you correlate that in baseball, we'll have to wait and see. But definitely, it's just this tournament has a different feel from a Clemson standpoint.
Yeah. Us against the world kind of thing. Gossett pitched in that 3-2 loss in 12 innings. He went 9 innings. He pitched a complete game, more or less. 9 innings. He allowed 1 earned run. He allowed 7 hits. He struck out 13. So if the Tigers can just get him a little offense, because he left with the game tied 1-1, and then Miami scored 2 in the 12th off of Drew Moyer. Clemson answered with 1 in the 12th, but not enough. They just get him some offense. They should be in great shape because he's been pretty much outstanding. I know wasn't so good against I think it was his last outing was Boston College, right? Wasn't so good against Boston College. I'll go back and check that. But by and large, he's been good pretty much every time out. Speaking of that, South Carolina and Mississippi State have not played this year. They played 4 times last year with Mississippi State winning 3 of those 4 games, including here in Hoover. They beat the Gamecocks in the SEC tournament. Their one win last year, it was Jordan Montgomery on the mound in Starkville, and South Carolina won that game. I think that was game 2 of that series. And he pitched pretty well against them last year. So the point is he should have some confidence going into tonight's game, and his teammates should have a lot of confidence behind him knowing that he has beaten Mississippi State recently. All right, we're going to hit a break, and when we come back, we're going to head up to Greenville, check in on the SoCon tournament. We'll also check in on the Big South as well. That's coming up. We'll be right back.
I think he meant down to Charleston.
2 breaks down.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Thank guys.
I'm sorry. Yeah, they're in
Charleston.
They're in Charleston, yeah. Dadgummit. Yeah. All night, flooded the fields.
Yeah, I can't. Big South?
Big South, yeah, in Rock Hill.
I heard it.
Unbelievable.
I think they started Suarez, it looks like. Lord said, I can't get this box yet. Suarez.
So you're telling me, did you see, was David there today?
I did not see David Hood.
Well, they've got something. They got some video or something there. Somebody.
Oh, yeah, Wake was eliminated by Georgia Tech in the play-in game. Doy. Yeah, Wake Forest is done.
All right, I got Rick's on. See your spots there. I guess we're back down to the normal 4 tonight. That includes Braves report.
Okay. We don't have one until the 6:36 segment, so.
All right, gentlemen, here we go. Stand by.
All right, back here at the SEC tournament in Hoover, Florida is on the board, top of the third inning now. It's Kentucky leading the Gators 2-1. Phil Kornblut here, Kevin McCrary at the ACC tournament in Greensboro. And Rickson Lane has made the quick drive from Greenville, where in my mind the Southern Conference tournament is being played, to Charleston, to where it's actually being played. To fill us in on the happenings from Riley Park. Rickson, how are you?
Doing well, Phil. I'm just glad that I'm in the right city. You had me worried.
We are too. That's good to hear from you again. Fill us in on the happenings of the day down there in the Port City.
Well, so far we've had two great games, two upsets. In the morning game, Appalachian State, the 5 seed, they go 11 innings and knock off Georgia Southern, the 4 seed, by a score of 5-4. So the Mountaineers advance. And then really the story of the tournament, the 1 o'clock game this afternoon, is the 8 seed Furman with a 3-2 win over top-seeded Western Carolina. The Paladins, they had to play in that single elimination game yesterday afternoon, rather, against UNC Greensboro. So 2 games and 2 wins for the Paladins, so they are cruising through the tournament. Right now, we are in the top of the 5th between 2nd-seeded Davidson and 10th-seeded Citadel. Davidson on top 4-1. Citadel got up early on a throwing error on a sacrifice bunt. Then Davidson had a solo homer in the bottom of the first, tacked on 2 more runs, and then a throwing error by the Bulldogs played at the 4th run of the inning. So it's 4-1 now in the top of the 5th. And then later on tonight after this game, we'll have 6th-seeded Wofford against 3rd-seeded Samford in the final game of the day.
Excellent. I'm assuming the folks that run that park remembered to turn off the sprinklers when they went to bed last night.
We've had no sign of water here yet today, Phil. It was about 90 degrees when I pulled up, but cooled down, a good breeze going, just a beautiful day for baseball here in Charleston.
All right, Rickson, thank you, man. For those of you who don't know the story, up in Rock Hill, somebody left the sprinklers on at the Winthrop Baseball Park overnight. And when they got there this morning to play ball, the field was underwater. It was unplayable.
I blame it on the team with the worst pitching staff.
Hey, Corn, you need the official word from Winthrop. It wasn't human error. There was a malfunction with the sprinklers, because I tweeted with tongue in cheek. There's so many jokes you can make with the Bull Durham references, but the Winthrop people were not laughing about it and wanted to make it clear that it was a malfunction with the sprinklers where they couldn't actually turn them off, and that's what caused the problem. It wasn't somebody flipped the switch and went and had a beer and went home to bed and forgot about it. So take that for what it's worth.
All right. Well, if that's the fact, that's the fact. I mean, I don't know what their situation is. Always a way of turning off the water supply somewhere. I mean, if you have a water break at your home, you can go out to the street and turn off the water supply to your house. Maybe this is different. Not saying that they can easily do that there, but the point is it messed up the entire schedule. And Aaron Marks, who does Coastal Carolina baseball, is going to join us here after the bottom of the hour break to tell us more about what he knows on that at the Big South. And we'll be right back. They already hate you at Winthrop anyway, K-Mac.
Yeah, Jack Frost is going to come down to Columbia and murder me. No, I just they said it was not. I'm with you, though. It does seem like you could go out there and shut the water off, but maybe it was connected to the same thing that gave like a dorm water. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, Corn, Mike Morgan plans on joining you there, so pick your phones. I think he's trying to find you.
Oh, okay. Well, tell him I'm all the way down here in the auxiliary press box.
Or you can just pull out your phone.
I mean, I've got a headset set up here, so.
Hey, guy that's doing 15,000 things, make it 15,001.
Well, we're just testing your capabilities, see if you're worthy.
I just told him that you're there somewhere to go find you, so I'm sure he's on the way.
Oh, man, I meant to get some stuff on Miami. Oh, here we go.
We learned that. McDaddy. Come on, dadgummit. Yeah, she's working. Come on. You got Aaron's number?
No, send it to me, please.
Great.
We're doing from the jump?
Yeah, go ahead and dial him up. I can get the number here real quick.
Last name one more time?
Marks with an S on the end. You want me to text it to? Can you put me down in queue?
Not on Google.
Okay, hang on.
You can just type it to me if you want.
Yeah.
We're going to keep him short enough to where we get some of the Clemson in this segment, or we're going to hold that over for next hour?
We'll play it by ear. Play it by ear.
Stand by.
Okay, we continue our coverage of the baseball tournament season here on Sports Talk. Good to have you with us on a beautiful Wednesday evening. We come to you from Hoover, Alabama, the SEC tournament. It's Florida and Kentucky is up by a 4-1 count on Florida as they play the bottom of the third inning. Florida, the number one seed here, trailing now 4-1, 4-4-0 for UK, 1-3-0 for the Gators. South Carolina, Mississippi State coming up a little bit later on tonight. LSU has beaten Vanderbilt 11-1, and Arkansas has beaten Ole Miss 2-1. Clemson a winner today over Duke 5-3. Miami was a loser today at the ACC tournament, the number one seed there. The Hurricanes go down to Georgia Tech, which had to win yesterday just to get into the main draw, and Tech beats Miami 6-3. Coming up there, North Carolina plays Florida State. We talked about the Southern Conference tournament just a few minutes ago. Furman, an upset winner over the number one seed, Western Carolina, 3-2. Davidson's leading the Citadel 4-1. Appalachian beat Georgia Southern in 11, 3-2. And later on, it's Wofford and Samford. That leaves us with the Big South tournament to talk about. And we welcome in our good friend from our affiliate in Myrtle Beach, WSEA-FM, and also the, well, I can't call him the voice completely of Coastal Carolina with Matt Hogue moving into the AD's job, but he's doing a lot of the Chanticleers play-by-play, and he's the morning talk show host on WSEA-FM in Myrtle Beach, 100.3. It's our buddy Aaron Marks. Aaron, how are you?
I'm good, Phil. As we like to say, have headset, will travel. I do many broadcasts these days, but having a lot of fun. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing great, and we appreciate you being with us. So tell us the story about what happened today at the Big South and what it means to the tournament moving forward here and trying to get back on time.
Well, it's complicated. We're still looking for some answers, and there have continued to be changes. But essentially, somebody pulled a move akin to what you'd see out of the movie Bull Durham, and they left the sprinkler system on too long last night. They forgot to shut it off, or somebody was pulling a prank. I don't know what the story is behind this. They haven't really found out yet, I don't think. I don't know if it was just an error on their maintenance part, or like I said, if someone was pulling a prank. But it flooded the field, and we were supposed to move into essentially the second round of action. We had losers bracket elimination games this morning, winners bracket games tonight, where Coastal Carolina was going to play the host Winthrop at 4:30. And at first the games were postponed an hour. Then they canceled the two winners bracket games, which didn't make a lot of sense that you would make the winners bracket teams possibly have to play two games tomorrow. They were going to play the elimination games. And then a couple hours ago, they said the field was unplayable, and they couldn't play any games today. So they pushed the whole tournament back to where they're going to pick up tomorrow what was supposed to be today, and then they're going to play out accordingly. So it's a good thing that the championship was planned for Saturday because they have that extra day Sunday. So now the Big South Championship will take place on Sunday so long as the field isn't flooded in the morning.
I'm glad you told us that. I wasn't aware it had gotten to that point. So, I mean, doesn't the field drain? I mean, this thing happened overnight. They discovered it this morning, so they turned the hoses off or whatever, turned off the water system. And you mean to tell me by 4 o'clock this afternoon on a beautiful, hot May afternoon in South Carolina, we couldn't get the field dried off enough to be able to play ball?
Yeah, as the guys in Bull Durham say, it was a natural disaster there today. It's crazy. And I was talking to some buddies of mine, and we've been changing our clocks at the station, and we've been doing the same thing that 7 other radio stations around the Carolinas and Virginia have been doing, trying to keep up with this thing and figure out what's going to happen next. So I've been in constant communication with a variety of people today. The sprinkler systems, I guess they put out a decent amount of water. I wouldn't think that they put out enough to flood the field for an entire day. And so, whether there was a water main that may be busted, we haven't got a real explanation. And essentially what the Big South has been saying via the press releases, which is the way they're communicating to all of us, is that there's a problem with the field. That's all we know, but it's through seeing the field and talking to folks there at Winthrop that we know that the sprinkler system flooded the field, and it got it to a point where they couldn't play any games today. And it's really baffling. I mean, this whole story just is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in sports, to have a field flood like this overnight on a beautiful spring day and for it not to be playable by that night. And there's another aspect of this field. Phil, you and I were talking earlier today, and have you guys talked about the sunshine and the way the field is positioned? That presents another problem at Winthrop.
Tell us about that. We have not brought that up.
Well, last night in first-round action at 6 o'clock or 6:30 when the sun was setting, how they built the stadium at Winthrop, where the Big South determined they were going to do this conference championship, it faces directly west, and there's no tree lines. There's nothing to block the sun from coming in. So last night there was an hour-long sun delay, and then we had a rain out on a sunny day. So that's what's going on in the Big South tournament. There's a sun delay. The sun shines directly into the eyes of the catcher. So initially when today's games were rescheduled, they scheduled the losers bracket for 2 o'clock and 7:30. They could not plan to play the second game 45 minutes after the first game because we might go into a sun delay, and that would hold the game up. They just scheduled it for 7:30. So that could become a problem tomorrow with 4 games on the schedule.
Wow. I think it'd be kind of interesting. Let them play through that sunblock and see if the catcher can catch the ball and see if the hitter can see the ball, and that'd make for some interesting baseball.
Yeah, Definitely. So, it's kind of interesting. Winthrop's pitcher, Coastal Carolina, played really well, probably their best game of the season on Monday. And I heard that Winthrop's pitcher today was coming in on 3 days rest. So you can take that for what it's worth. There's all kinds of.
No, come on now. Come on. Don't go NASCAR on us. Don't go NASCAR on us, all right? Let's stay out of the gutter. What does this mean, however, from a Coastal, Winthrop, Liberty standpoint in particular for those three, or I'll throw Charleston Southern in there as well. I mean, does anybody in particular benefit, you think, from this extra time?
Well, Winthrop does benefit. I think Coastal Carolina benefits. Coastal Carolina has been beat up with injuries all season long. They've really struggled because of it. They've lost two of their weekend starters in the rotation early in the season, and so it's been pitching by committee this year who's going to be the next man up to start each game. They've dealt with all kinds of injuries around the infield. Jake Kane, the second baseman, was dealing with some issues. He's been back for now about 12 games, and he's back in the rotation. Zach Remillard, the third baseman, leads the team and runs batted in. He's lost. They thought he was lost to possibly getting compensated surgery, but he is a DH. He can't play defense, but he can DH for the team, and that's a good thing. But I think Coastal benefits. I think Winthrop benefits. Liberty's a very deep team, so maybe Liberty might not be real thrilled about this. With the fact that everything got delayed a little bit, and they were rolling, they're ready to go, and so it'll create an interesting dynamic going into tomorrow. Ultimately, who handles this the best? Because all the teams, except for Winthrop, who was hanging out at their homes, all the rest of the teams just ended up hanging out of the hotels all day long, playing video games and working out of the gym and just doing what they could do to pass the time.
All right, but we have no doubt there'll be baseball tomorrow in Rock Hill.
We'll say 95% sure. The way this week has gone so far, I think everything's on the table. But, yeah, we're planning to play baseball tomorrow in Rock Hill. So we'll see how it plays out with some elimination games in the morning and the winner's bracket games tomorrow night.
Message to the Big South: do not water your field tonight before going home. Don't even risk it. Absolutely. Okay, Aaron, thank you, man. Enjoy your time in Rock Hill, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow after some games have been played, and we'll see how things go when they get back into action at the Big South. That just came back in pro. That's just wacky between the flooded field and the sun in the eyes and all that. That's crazy.
Well, my point is this. I can't realize why you don't take that into account when you're constructing a facility and why it has not been discovered until now. You would think at some point Winthrop has played a game when they hit that hour when the sun's going to be in the guy's eyes, and they've noticed that, but apparently not, and they had to wait to host the tournament to find it out. So
they knew. They just didn't tell anybody. They're like, oh, by the way, we want that tournament. You can't see it, right?
All right, thanks to Aaron Marks for being with us. We're going to hit a break. I believe, if I'm lucky and honored enough, Mike Morgan is going to find his way out of the luxurious play-by-play booth to our humble abode here in Hoover and join us. I saw the 20. I didn't see the 10 and the 5, but
you know what? I was just looking at that because I hit it back to back, and they never showed up until after we went to the break. It went 20 and then 10-5 right back to back. That was Google's error there.
I haven't. Let's see here. Andy had a few.
You find Morgan?
I'm gonna send him a text. Auxiliary box. I'm in aux press box upstairs. Have the Clemson news conference ready in case that Mike doesn't make it here on time. Here we can do that and hit him on the other side. Please, sir. Okay. I got to do a spot in here too.
What should you want to do first, Corn? The official post game or like a one-on-one
presser? Yeah, no, the official presser. I always like to do that and then do the one-on-one later. If we're going to do them both, I'll let K-Mac lead into it.
So what are we going to do here?
Well, we're going to wait and see if Mike makes it. I sent him a text. If he doesn't make it here, then we'll do the press conference.
Okay.
and do him afterwards.
And don't forget, we need to mention the Will Merritt stuff too.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into that when we get a chance. We've been so heavy on baseball.
Just think we need to mention it.
Well, I need to tell the real story why he's leaving.
Have you talked to him since?
Be careful.
Yeah, we're online.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he'll come on.
Well, it was a very competitive ball game from start to finish. I thought.
You wouldn't get anything out of him.
Yeah. He issued a statement to TigerNet. You can go back and read it. It was first class.
Yeah.
I give him credit though. He stuck by his
principles. Kevin Smith did likewise. Kevin Smith resigned.
Kevin Smith,
the engineer, the producer.
Oh, really? I didn't.
Greatest guy in the world. Greatest guy. I mean, he's just a great guy. It's just a shame.
You seen Morgan anywhere?
Not yet.
You converse with him to some degree, though?
Send him a text.
Okay. He kept asking me what channel the game was going to be on Time Warner. I looked it up for him because I'm guessing he's on some other kind of broadcast right now.
Who's that?
Morgan. Apparently CSS is only offered on Time Warner out of all the other cable providers.
Oh, he sent me. Oh, I sent him a text. Why is my text here not going out? It's taking me off. Well, I should have mentioned that. LSU got beaten LSU's game was in 7 innings.
Stand by, guys.
Wait on Morgan to join us, and hopefully we'll hook up with him either in person or on the phone in a few minutes for our Braves report. Update things here. It's still Kentucky leading the way 4-1 over Florida here in the third game of the day at the SEC tournament. Earlier, Vanderbilt lost to LSU. I should have mentioned 11-1, and this was a game in which the 10-run rule came into play. So they only played 7 innings. LSU scored 3 in the bottom of the 7th to go by 10. 10-run rule comes into effect, and the game ends there. Arkansas beat Ole Miss 2-1. USC, Mississippi State coming up later on tonight. Clemson 5-3 came back over Duke. Sure, that was a happy bunch of Tigers that met with you guys afterwards.
Yeah, Jack Leggett, you'll hear from him first, and his winning pitcher, Matthew Crownover, and Tyler Krieger, who is not healthy enough to play the field, but is using his bat in that DH role in the number 2 spot. 2 hits and 2 RBIs for him. Let's listen in.
Well, it was a very competitive ball game from start to finish. I thought the guy did a really nice job. Offensively, I thought we did a really good job in the 4th and 5th inning. We grabbed 1 run, 2 on Tyler's big hit down the right field line. We had 2 outs. It was a big hit for us. And then we got 2 big hits, a big hit at the end by Stephen Duggar that gave us the insurance runs. And all along the way, Matthew Cronover was excellent for us. Getting 9 o'clock. He was all around the plate all day long and really just hit 2 balls. And I thought he was very good. He's been pitching like that for us all year long and battles all the time.
Questions for the student athletes coach?
Go ahead. Tyler, their starting pitcher said he felt like after the first time through the order, you guys started sitting on his fastball and really looking for it. I mean, was that the biggest adjustment you all made?
Yeah, I think, our game plan going in was we were going to have to be aggressive. We were going to have to get on the fastball and really make sure our things were crisp. And I think, obviously anytime you see a pitcher the second time through, you're going to gain a better idea of what he's got. But I think, he pitched an awesome game, and he's got a lot of talent. And, we just seemed to make the adjustment and get the big hit when we needed it.
Matthew, what was working good for you?
Fastball commands my game. When I can go my fastball for strikes with sink, whether it be my two seam or my four seam, changeup looks a lot better. And I really worked on throwing more of a swing and miss changeup this week instead of just a contact changeup, and it really worked for me today. So I just threw a lot of strikes, got ahead, and I established the fastball early in the game, which was important because if I know it's going to be a strike, my changeup will still like my fastball, and it really helped me out today.
Jack, clutch hitting was something that hasn't always been there for this team this year. I mean, is that something you felt kind of confident would come around eventually?
Yeah, I've always thought we had a really good baseball team, and we won a big game the other day, and I think that gave us a lot of momentum and some confidence in what we're doing. And we played a very tough schedule along the way, and this was another tough ball game for us. Every game we play in the ACC is tough. I haven't been anything easy about it. But I've always believed in this team. The team has always played. We played pretty consistently for the most part. And we did get some big hits today. We built some innings, made him pitch from the stretch. That was one of the other things we wanted to try to do, is get him in the stretch because not quite as effective as from the windup. And when we built the 2 innings in the 4th and the 5th, that was big for us, just to take the lead. And then the runs that we built at the last part of the game were really important for us. And Duggar got a big hit for us to make it 5-2 at the time, and it gives us just a little bit more breathing room. We really didn't want to use Campbell today if we could help it because he threw so much, last week on the weekend. But we felt like that was the right time to get him in there. Drew was running out of gas a little bit, but he did a good job before that.
Tyler, did it seem like there were more fastballs the second and third time for the lineup, or did you guys just do a better job of identifying them?
I think, obviously when you have the kind of arm that kid does, you're going to want to throw your fastball. So, I think it was just a matter of us putting better swings on him the second time through the order.
Tyler, can you talk about the adjustment into that DH role for you? And I'm sure you grew up and how you've been able to continue your success at the plate.
Yeah, well, obviously, I'd love to be out on the field playing, but, my shoulder's not allowing me to do that. But I would, I'm lucky that I can still swing a bat without any pain and help this team in any way because I love these guys and I love being able to still get a chance in the lineup. And, I've just been able to keep my focus and continue to play well, and I just got to keep it rolling throughout this tournament.
Jack, obviously it worked out really well. I'm curious what was behind the swap from the second and third in the order?
It really just gives us an opportunity we got 2 switch hitters on our team, and so if we bat them second, we bat them fourth, it makes it difficult for somebody to come in and throw a left-hander relief guy against us, or matchup guy, or a right-handed sidearm guy against us. So it just makes it work pretty good for us, I think. And then you don't have the 2 lefties at the top of the order if they bring a guy in for him. So.
More tournament coverage coming up on Sports Talk. Stay tuned.
Thank you. That was perfect.
More tournament coverage coming up on Sports Talk. Stay tuned.
It's official.
Hey, you guys there? Corn.
You've got us muted.
Yeah,
you hit mute.
Yeah, no, I had to mute you to go into the audio. That's what I was trying to tell you to unmute.
Yeah.
You don't have to mute me. I can mute myself.
Okay, well, I need you to unmute to come out of the break. Pro just kind of got us out.
That's fine. Yeah, slide over here a little bit there, Mikey.
1 2 1 2. I'm a little camera shy.
Yeah, slide over this way. We got to get you in the camera.
Really?
Yeah.
This is necessary?
Mm-hmm. That's what we do here in sports.
Big time, Mike Morgan.
You guys are pretty much an internet show now, right? You're not on Columbia, so it's...
Lean in. This is HD, by the way. Did you put your...
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Let Mike know that everybody on the internet can hear him now, even though we're in a break.
Hello, everybody. Vote for Phil in Columbia.
The 11 people watching online right now will...
yes.
Not want to know what you have to say.
There's K-Mac.
I am a big supporter of the Sports Talk show returning to the major market in South Carolina, and if elected, happen.
You will serve. How about Kentucky taking it to Florida here? This wacky SEC tournament.
Kentucky's good.
Yeah, they can hit.
Kentucky is good, and their pitching's better than people think.
Mm-hmm.
Now they don't have a great bullpen.
Stand by.
Jeez.
Okay, we're back at Sports Talk from here at the Hoover Regions Park in Hoover, Alabama, the SEC tournament. And, of course, K-Mac's over the ACC tournament. Mike Morgan has joined us now to talk a little bit about the Braves, our Braves report, as well as some SEC baseball here for a couple of minutes. Pardon Mike, those of you watching us on the internet, he's a little camera shy.
I am. I'm kind of nervous.
Not used to the HD camera effect.
No, this is my big break in television.
Could lead to something big for you.
Yeah, this will be on the resume tomorrow.
All right, so the Braves, we talk bad about them, and they make us look stupid. They turn around and they start winning, and they start winning in a dominating fashion.
Well, they do, and they've started to hit, at least in this series. How much of that is Milwaukee not pitching well? How much of that is Atlanta picking it up? I think it's really more the Braves picking it up. If you go by the numbers, the Brewers had good pitching coming in, but Atlanta's been able to humble it quite a bit. I keep going back to Jason Hayward because I think he's the most important guy in the lineup in terms of a wild card, if you will, a guy that can go one way or another. And he's been going good lately, and so has the offense overall.
Now, you just never know with the Braves. I mean, they look so good for an extended period. And, of course, I guess you could really say that about any number of Major League Baseball teams. But the fact that we talk about the Braves every night, it becomes a little annoying when they go into the dumps. They turn around and start looking like $1 million again.
They are hard to figure out from time to time. They can be a bit enigmatic because when they lose ugly.
Mm-hmm.
In football terms, they would lose with like 5 fumbles, a missed extra point, a couple of interceptions. That's when you're watching your favorite team continually strike out and not put the ball in play and look inept at the plate. It's really about as frustrating a way to lose in baseball, other than just playing shoddy defense, as you can have. So when they hit, just decent. You don't need this team to lead the National League in any hitting category. Just be middle of the pack with that pitching. They'll be fine.
All right, quickly to USC, Mississippi State coming up tonight. Montgomery for USC. I'm expecting Trevor Fitz to be the starter for Mississippi State. Have you heard anything different?
No, I have not. That's supposed to be the guy. He's not a hard thrower, but he's a guy that they look to get 5 or 6 innings out of and then turn it over to the bullpen. That's what Mississippi State does. And a big thing that happened last night for those that kept up with the game, with Georgia putting up a 2 spot in the 9th, sending it to extra innings. That was one more inning of work for Holder. I don't think he's going to be available, so that leaves just Lindgren, their ace lefty, out of the bullpen. Montgomery hasn't had a bad start really in 2 months, so you got to feel good about Carolina's chances with him on the mound. And contrary to what they were the last time I saw them against Georgia, the Gamecocks are as healthy as they've been in a long time.
Absolutely. Montgomery beat these guys last year. Their only win against the Bulldogs in 4 games last year. Any carryover from that, you think, to tonight?
That's a tough question. They didn't play each other this year,
right?
So they haven't seen each other all season long. But a lot of these players are familiar with one another because they're both veteran teams. They both returned a lot of guys. I personally don't think so. I think with that long of a lapse in between seeing a guy, Montgomery's a different pitcher. He's got a little more zip on his fastball right now. I think he's actually improved quite a bit this season. So, no, I don't think it'll be a big factor.
Okay, Mike, thank you. You're coming up on Real TV.
That's right, and I don't even ask me what channel and everything else, but if you can't get it, go to ESPN3.com.
You got it, my man. We'll be back.
My daughter thinks I'm out of touch, so I asked her how I saved 15% on car insurance in just 15 minutes.
righty. We'll come back and catch up on the news and catch up on the spots. Uh-oh, there's a drive. Ooh. Kentucky be cruising for a bruising. What's up, man?
It's really, really ridiculous trying to get TV listings from these massive cable outlets.
Mm-hmm.
Search. Yeah, it's supposed to be like 5:06 or something. Yeah, they have like a Twitter account that says, "Here's what we got for today." Boom. You don't have to continue looking, Graham.
You know, these, I could slide in and take those. That guy, they're using an internet connection. I could use that. Are we holding up pretty strongly?
Absolutely.
All right, then no reason to mess with it.
Yeah, I'm a little superstitious. So I got the honey bun going here.
Always the honey bun. The Bay Area, 95.7. The Bay. All right, I'll have the Jack interview standing by, and make sure you get.
I do.
We don't have anything else. Rush is inside right now.
All righty, gentlemen, stand by.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
We are back, hour number 2 of Sports Talk on this Wednesday night. Well, not really the opening day of play in the tournaments, but the opening day of the main draw here for the SEC and the ACC in Greensboro. Big South, Big South flooded out today. You can't say rained out. It didn't rain. Just flat out flooded out because of a watering issue with their sprinkler system. So no play in the Big South. And the Southern Conference, the main draw today, getting underway in Charleston, where Furman has knocked off the number 1 seed. Number 1 seed here is up against it with Kentucky leading Florida 4-1 as we play in the bottom of the 5th. Number 1 seed at the ACC tournament, Miami, they have lost today. Clemson has won. USC is standing by, going to take the field a half hour after this game is over to take on Mississippi State in what should be a very good game. Guys, Mississippi State, it really doesn't matter how good South Carolina is any given year or what kind of year Mississippi State's having. It just seems like K-Mac, every time they face Mississippi State, the Gamecocks have a hard time with these guys because Mississippi State's just always one of those really good teams. They usually hit the ball well. As I pointed out earlier, they've got the best fielding team percentage-wise in the SEC and one of the best in the country, so they're good defensively, and their pitching is solid enough.
Yeah, it's a great program. I don't think you can even call it underrated with all the unbelievable players that have come through Stark Vegas over the past several years, even in the past few decades, guys that are now playing in the big leagues. So it's tough, and we all know Hoover is a house of horrors for the Gamecocks from the Chad Holbrook era to the Ray Tanner era and beyond. They just have struggled in Hoover, but there is some stuff on the line here. A top 8 national seed, you can't put enough value on that if you're South Carolina, a team that's never lost at home in the postseason.
All right, let me mention a couple of other things, and we're going to hear from Jack Leggett coming up in just a little bit. Will Merritt announced today that he is ending his role as the color analyst on the Clemson football broadcast after 13 years. He issued a statement today in which he expressed his love for Clemson and his appreciation for his time with the network. He cited the desire to spend more time with his family publicly as part of the reason for this. But, guys, I mean, the truth behind the story is this is his reaction to what happened with the handling of Pete Yannity as the play-by-play guy. And, I can tell you firsthand that Will was very upset with that move and also with the way it was handled. So if Pete's not gone, Will's not gone. Pete's gone, Will's gone. Kevin Smith, the behind-the-scenes producer and engineer for the network, who does a fabulous job for those guys, been with them a long time, he resigned as well. So a lot of people, close to that situation, upset about what went down. So you'll have a new play-by-play guy, new color guy, new engineer, and not sure about Patrick Sapp and his status at this point. We'll be right back.
Hey, Corn.
Yes.
I think you have a hard time hearing pro.
Yeah. When I start talking, whoever is talking in the hangout, it kind of mutes anybody else talking. That's why you have to be careful about jumping in, so it doesn't sound like we're talking over each other. Tell Pro I'll bring him in. It's not good to try to jump in because I can't hear him. That's why you'll hear me say K-Mac or Pro. I'll bring them in that way, but any other way, you're going to end up stepping on each other.
All right, you want to run this Jack here?
Yeah. Again, I'll let K-Mac lead into that.
Okay.
I got to do some spots here. We'll do a couple of other things. I'll bring Pro in this segment. I'm going to grab a drink, and I'll be back.
Okay.
John Whittle, I was on video. Where did the Wake stuff come from?
What are you talking about?
I see somebody mentioning. Did we mention Wake or something? Okay, we're back. Sports Talk here in Hoover, Alabama. The SEC tournament. K-Max at the ACC tournament in Greensboro. Professor Tom Hayes back at the studios in downtown Columbia. Mike Morgan was with us a few minutes ago for our Braves report and a little SEC baseball talk as well. And, of course, he's brought to you by Whit Suber of Home Shop Realty, where you pay less for more. Call 803-518-3888 today and experience the Home Shop difference, and by Founders Federal Credit Union, helping South Carolinians attain their financial goals. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we'll hear from Jack Leggett, K-Max one-on-one with the Tigers head man. Looking forward to that. We'll also have a recruiting roundup for you as well. Kentucky continuing to lead Florida as we're playing the top of the sixth here in Hoover. It's 4-1. You want more out of your education? Well, Palmetto College offers the quality of a 4-year education online. And to find out more, visit palmettocollege.sc.edu. With Palmetto College, your future has no limits. The NASCAR Hall of Fame today announced the greats to be inducted for the class of 2015. Bill Elliott, Fred Lorenzen, Wendell Scott, Joe Weatherly, and Rex White, all going into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Don't think anybody will argue with that. We have NBA playoff action tonight, Pro. As I told you last night, well, how many did LeBron score last night?
I have no earthly idea. I think he and Dwayne Wade both scored 33.
So LeBron didn't come out and have the monster-type game that I thought he would have. That was a game Indiana could have won, but they just went ice cold in the last few minutes of the late in the third quarter into the fourth quarter, and the Heat took over.
Well, you know, it follows the scripts of the old Bulls team. They lose the first or second game and then just destroy their opponent in the last few. They're not going to completely dismantle you unless everybody's clicking, but they just know how to execute down the stretch, and that's what Miami did. Every time a team wins a championship, if they get a team in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game, they can pretty much out-execute you, and that's what they did with Indiana. Indiana was stout, but, you know, they just got out-executed down the stretch, and that's what happened.
All right, we'll see what kind of fight the Thunder have tonight as they try to avoid going down 2 games to the Spurs. But a good day for Clemson in Greensboro. They fell behind early, and didn't play well early. They had a couple of mistakes in the field and gave up a 2-run homer, but Crownover hung in there. He got better as the game went on, and Duke had this hard-throwing pitcher on the mound, a guy that, listening to the radio broadcast, which was an adventure in and of itself, by the way, but that's a story for another day, was hitting in the mid to upper 90s on the radar gun. At least that's what they were reporting. So, K-Mac, you were there. This guy was a hard thrower, and he had the Tigers on their heels early, but eventually they sort of caught up with him and put together a couple of nice rallies.
Yeah, Michael Matuella is not a bad pitcher at all for Duke, has an ERA under 3, and he didn't pitch poorly today, but Clemson just chipped away at him with 10 hits and had timely hits, the 2-out hit by Krieger, the Stephen Duggar with the big 1-out 2 RBI, a single in the 9th. But a good performance for Clemson, a much-needed performance as they continue to try to build that resume to ensure they're where they're used to being every year, except for once since 1986 they've been in the postseason. This win helps ensure that streak will continue.
All right, and you had a chance to catch up with Jack Leggett afterwards. I got to believe he was in a pretty good mood.
He was gracious enough to spend a couple of minutes with us on his way back to the bus, and we talked about just how important it was to get off to a good start here in this pool play format ACC tournament.
Yeah, Duke's got a fine baseball team, and they had a real strong pitcher on the mound with a really good arm who's got a great future, and we were fortunate to get some big swings against them in the 4th and 5th inning. Built that inning in the 5th where Krieger hit the ball down the right field line to get us 2 runs with 2 outs and take the lead. He was really good for us all day long. Then we got the big hit in the 9th there with, remember in the 8th inning with Duggar. They gave us the insurance runs, and we found that we needed those.
Yeah, Krieger really, you mentioned it, and despite the fact that he's not able to give you a lot in the field, still swings a nice bat.
Well, he's a great competitor, and he's also a really good baseball player, and he wants to help his team. Very unselfish. He just wants to win, and he's ready to help his team any way he possibly can. And, he's kept his focus and hasn't allowed DH in to get into his head or anything like that. He just gets up there and he plays his game and helps the team on the bench. He's a great leader for us.
Crownover really looked like he was hitting his spots, had the fastball working, gave you 100-plus pitches, but strong into the 8th inning.
He was strong, and he probably could have kept going a little bit, but he, once he smelled the lead there, he smelled victory, and that's the kind of competitor he is. So he was spotting his fastball today, had a really good feel of his changeup, and I felt like he was in control all day long, and we just need to score enough runs to make it work for him. And he's a great battler for us, great competitor, and certainly a top-flight pitcher for us.
This is kind of uncharted water for you guys. Normally you come into this tournament, you're wondering if you're going to be a top 8 national seed or at home for a regional. Now on the bubble, is that something you guys are kind of using as a rallying point, or are you trying to take as at any other tournament?
Well, we've had a good season overall. It's just we want it to be a little bit better at the end here. We've still got all of our goals intact. I feel like we're definitely an NCAA tournament team. It's just a matter of, where we'll go from here. This is a big game for us today. Big game against Miami tomorrow. And I'm excited about the opportunity we have in front of us, But this team's been battling all year long, and the people that have hung with us, they still got a chance to be on board for a good ride. And those that bailed out, can't get back on board, But we've got a good group of fans and a good group of people that believe in this team, and we certainly believe in it. And we're going to continue to keep on working hard and, make our dreams come true.
You guys are riding some of that momentum, the big win on Saturday against Boston College, that kind of thing that kind of can galvanize you into the postseason.
It was a huge win for us at that time, and a huge comeback for us, and confidence builder. And we rode it into today. Our frame of mind has been really good on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and the practices that we had, and it was good. Our frame of mind was good today during the game and in preparation for this game. So these kids believe they're a good baseball team. They believe they can beat anybody on any given day, and so we just got to go out and prove it.
Miami tomorrow. You
played very well against us. They got 3 really good left-handed starting pitchers, so they're going to be tough in this tournament. And we're going to face Diaz, who's ACC pitcher of the year, along with Kirby. So it's going to be a good challenge for us. We also got a pretty good guy going out there tomorrow, Daniel Gossett. So it'll be a good challenge for both teams. And I feel like if we have a good approach tomorrow and we get some runs, I think it'll be effective as well. So it'll be a good challenge for us.
All right, K-Mac with Jack Leggett. And K-Mac, when he talked about the bus, and how did he put it? Being on the bus or being on the bandwagon, however he put it. How did he have a smile on his face? Do he have a serious look on his face? Does he seem to be a little bit agitated at the criticism he's received? Gene Sapakoff calling for his firing. Internet folks on his back. How did he seem to react when you talked to him about that particular point?
I mean, he was very serious. He wasn't saying that tongue in cheek, and I think like anybody else, he's been there so long. He's led Clemson to 6 College World Series appearances. He's won this ACC tournament multiple times. I think the natural reaction for anybody would be like, really? Your guys are going to bail on me when it's a little tough now? We're talking about 3 years. Now, we don't know what's going to happen this year. They could win this tournament. They could go to Omaha. This year's not over yet, but yes, they've had some down years, but programs come back to earth. Texas, had some down years for a while. Some teams that UCLA didn't make the NCAA regional not long after they went to the national championship. It's tough to do. What he's done is amazing, and he's judged by his own success. I think he's disappointed and maybe a little hurt that not just guys like the Gene Sapakoff, but some of his own people, Clemson fans, have turned on him.
Yeah. Well, it's time to be supportive, and for those of you not on the bandwagon, it's too late for you, but you can certainly support the Tigers from outside, and maybe if you're nice, he'll let you back in next year. But we'll see what happens. That's a huge game for Clemson. I think Jack still feels like they're in good enough shape to make the tournament. I don't know. A win tomorrow might answer that question. We'll be back. All right, nice edit.
Miami tomorrow.
Yeah, Miami tomorrow.
Oh, that was good, man. I didn't know. I didn't even hear. I heard the conversation about the edit, but I didn't know where it was. But I heard it immediately.
Oh yeah, it wasn't clean by any stretch, but it's better than me. It would have been bad enough. He would have said we played him there, but I was like, and I was trying to and then he just went into it. And
You didn't hear the edit in his interview?
I was, in my defense, I was in Mexico.
Oh, he said something like, I think he got the game wrong or something. Like he said it was in Miami.
We were all in Mexico.
Reference to being in Miami or something.
Reference to it being in Coral Gables. And he's like, no, it was at our place. So I was going to be like, oh, that's even worse. Oh, jeez. How'd you get swept at home?
Oh, me.
Oh, stupid.
So I'm going to use all my lead-ins from here out.
If that's the
all my casts and
mistake.
everything.
That's the biggest mistake I make this tournament. I'll be fortunate.
Panthers haven't been to the Super Bowl in 10 years. Phil Cornblut, Miami.
What? When did I say that?
No, I'm just saying I'm going to use that as all my lead-ins from here on out on the cast.
No.
No other context or anything.
I just said Miami tomorrow. I said you have Miami tomorrow. Or Miami tomorrow, I think. Is what I said.
It actually makes sense. Miami, comma, question mark, tomorrow. Miami, question mark. Wait, Miami, comma. Tomorrow, question mark. Jesus. Oh, what did we miss? That's all the audio, right?
That's all the audio from my end.
All right, stand by.
All right, they're underway in Greensboro, the last game of the night there, and that's North Carolina and Florida State scoreless in the bottom of the first. And here it's still 4-1 Kentucky as we play the bottom of the sixth. Also, should tell you that the NCAA Women's Golf Tournament round 2 today in South Carolina sits in 20th place.
Oof.
Yeah, they did not actually, they were 2 shots better today than they were yesterday. The problem is that so many other teams played so much better and improved so many more spots than USC did. So the Gamecocks are 40 over par and even 600 after 2 rounds. and they trail the leader, Oklahoma, by 25 shots. Oklahoma's plus 15, Duke is plus 18, and Arizona State's plus 20. That's your top three. Individually for South Carolina, tell you who did what today. Let's see. We had Samantha Swinehart. She shot 6 over. Actually, Sarah Schmelzel and Justine Dreer shot 3 over today. Swinehart shot plus 6. Caitlin Dambo shot plus 7, and Susie Lee was plus 8 today for USC. So not all that awful, but other teams just played better and moved ahead of South Carolina as they go into round 3. And you know what? We have been talking so much that we haven't even mentioned taking phone calls or Twitter stuff. So let's open that up. K-Mac perhaps will read some Twitter stuff aimed at you. The phone number, 800-956-7266. Twitter, @SportsTalkSC. The email, talkback@sportstalksc.com. On Facebook, Sports Talk Radio Network. And make sure you go to our website, sportstalksc.com. K-Mac has post-game coverage from today's Clemson victory. And tonight I'll have post-game USC coverage from their game against Mississippi State. And we'll have all that up for you within, about an hour or so after the game. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning, coming up on 7:30 Eastern time. So this game's probably not going to end till about 8:30 Eastern time, barring extra frames. So we're probably looking at about a 9 o'clock Eastern time first pitch, I would suggest.
That's what I was been saying this morning on my cast. I said 9 o'clock. I just figured knowing the SEC tournament, that's what would happen. But we talked about some of the games today, and I'm looking at some of the collateral damage around South Carolina. That's 8 in the RPI. With Iowa in the Big Ten tournament, it's 2-2 in the 5th inning. Florida is losing. They're at number 2 in the RPI. Vandy lost today. They're actually above South Carolina at number 6. Houston won today. They're just below South Carolina. And, of course, we talked about Ole Miss losing. And LSU is number 16. So you look at LSU trying to move up. So they're right there, maybe by the end of this tournament, nipping at South Carolina's heels. So a lot of things to be decided on. There's tournament action going on all around the country.
Yep, you're exactly right, and you got to believe everybody scoreboard watching, those that are trying to maneuver their way in or stay in that top 8. We'll hit a break. We'll be right back.
You got 2 callers you want to take when we come back home.
Yeah. Try again.
One more, Delia?
That's why I asked Billy.
It came way back in 19 with Clayton Kershaw.
Left fielder Parks Jordan got a good jump on it. And that's a nice play by Dunbar to knock that ball down. That was a very tough hop, and Dunbar secured it, and as a result, that held Justin Gonzalez at first base.
And Danny De La Calle with 2 outs gets a chance here in the 2nd. So a couple of hits for Florida State in the game's first run here in Greensboro tonight. Fastball away. 1-0. And those come in. The number 2 seed in the event. In the last 8 tournaments, 7 times they've been the 1 or the 2. That ball is foul at the third base side. Lassiter got a glove on it.
I wonder if we'll see the Florida State Seminoles test the mobility of Big Taylor Cherry. See if people try to bunt and make him come off the mound and field his position.
Right. So 1-1. With 2 down to the Seminole catcher. Swing and a miss there. 1-2. Yeah, talking to some of the Carolina folks, that might have been part of the reason you didn't see Cherry yesterday.
But Adrian.
Well, you know, Trey Turner.
Adrian can swing a little bit.
Absolutely.
Especially if he's on the good gas, you know what I'm saying?
Gonzalez at first. 2-2 now.
Yeah, the Linscomb look, yeah. There's only one copycat.
On a team where guys walk an awful lot. De La Calle only 15 walks on the season.
Runner goes, no, held up on 2-2. Ground ball slapped right at Russell, and he'll throw to first in time. But Justin Gonzalez unlocks this ball game with a sharply hit ball into left field. Florida State early in Greensboro.
I want to try to pop two of these here, Corn.
Mm-hmm. Florida State's taking a 1-0 lead.
That is the word.
For less at Ruby Tuesday. That's 20 dishes all under $10. Try our loaded smokehouse burger or fresh garden bar.
Over the Tar Heels of North Carolina.
Delicious flatbreads, tacos, tenders, and salads. All made to order and all under $10. Only at Ruby Tuesday.
Hi, welcome to Toyota Time.
I need a truck that will last. Now.
How about a 2014 Tundra?
All right, here we go, gentlemen. Stand by.
All right, Florida State has broken through in the game against North Carolina. Seminoles have taken a 1-0 lead in that game in the ACC tournament. Kentucky is making a pitching change here in Hoover, bottom of the 6th, and Gators have a couple of guys on base, one away, but the Wildcats continue to lead 4-1. South Carolina and Mississippi State are still to come. Phone number 800-956-7266. Email talkback at sportstalksc.com. Play the Cash Whirlwind Instant Game for a chance to win up to $20,000 on only a $2 instant game from the South Carolina Education Lottery. Let's squeeze in some phone calls while we can, and we'll do recruiting coming up after our next segment. So let's see. We're going to head out first to JC down in Charleston tonight. JC, how are you? And welcome into Sports Talk.
Thank you, Phil. 2 quick questions. In y'all's opinion, how many games does Carolina need to win to where y'all comfortably think they'll be a number 8 seed, a top 8 seed? And then number 2, how many games do you have without losing would it take to win the tournament?
Well, to answer your first question, I think South Carolina would have to go at least, I think, 2-2. Without winning the championship, I think they'd have to win at least 2 games. That means they'd go 2-2 here. I think with other stuff happening around them, I think that would be good enough for them to maintain their number 8 spot at very least in the RPI. What do you guys think? I think 2 wins minimum. I think going 1-2 might not be enough.
No, I think to be on the safe side, at least 2-2. But I think on the real, if you want to really get comfortable, they have to win 3 games in this tournament.
Oh yeah, you win 3 games, I think you're in without question. K-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with Pro. I think 2, you have to sweat it out and see what other teams in the SEC do that are kind of hovering around that 8 to 6 margin, like the Gamecocks. 3, I think you're in pretty good shape, especially after that series win in Nashville in the final week of the regular season.
And I believe, if I'm reading the bracket correctly, if you go undefeated, I think you can win this tournament in, 4 games? I think a minimum of 4 games will get you a championship here.
Yeah, if you win 2, right, you get Friday off.
Correct.
And then you
win
go
on
back
Saturday and win on Sunday. Yeah. So that's 4 games you can win if you stay undefeated, 4 games, and you can win the championship. So, I mean, if you want to be an optimistic sort, you could win 4 games here, then you win 3 games in a regional, then you win 2 games in a super regional, so you're 4, 7, 9 wins away. If you don't lose anything, 9 wins away from going to Omaha, if you want to look at it that way. Anything else, JC?
No, guys. Well, has the ACC, are they ever going to get it as far as the format? Haven't they talked about changing it up? I mean, this round robin thing is, I think, it's just a crazy way to do a tournament. I mean, has there been any talk at all of changing it?
Hey, K-Mac, doesn't the format change next year?
Yeah, I thought it was changing this year. There is talk about it. A lot of the coaches that have experienced this have not been big fans of it. I do think sooner rather than later they're going to vote and get this thing back to the way every other major conference tournament is. SEC, College World Series, they need to get back to that. I think a lot of the coaches want to get back to that, and eventually they will. There are some pros to this. I mean, you do get to set your pitching. If you're a team like Clemson that's on the bubble for the NCAA tournament, you like this format because you're guaranteed 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a fan that took off of work, you don't have to worry about your team being 0-2 on barbecue. But now you have play-in games on Tuesday, so you still could pack up the bus and be home after 1 game like NC State and Wake Forest were. Not that they had to come especially far in this tournament, but I think they will get back to a bracket format instead of this pool play format.
Yeah, I'm just looking here. For some reason, why do I think that that has been announced that they're going to go back to the double elimination bracket format?
In 2015, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, that is the case. I'm trying to find some documentation on that, but for some reason, I think that's been announced. They're going to Durham with the tournament next year, and that's why I'm thinking they're going to go back to the similar format that they have here and what they have in the College World Series.
And I'll look that up too, Cornyn, during a break. This is the second time in the past, I think, 3 or 4 years the tournament has been here at Greensboro at New Bridge Bank Park. Durham, they do a great job with it. It really, I'm sure Charlotte's going to get it on the mix eventually with that great new downtown ballpark that they have. But this is a great location. And when you talk about Durham and Greensboro, Charlotte, unfortunately, we can't do it in Greenville or Myrtle Beach, but the crowds have been very nice at this tournament, even for the morning game, a nice crowd. And Corn, I don't know if you've ever been to New Bridge Bank Park. It has a playground. I thought about you today because I know you hate kids, and you especially hate that kids could be entertained at a ballpark.
I hope a couple of them took a shot off the knee on a foul ball.
So there was.
Watch me slide down the slide. Oh, I got hit by a foul ball. Oi, oi, oi. Who can I sue?
In Durham, they have, of course, if you hit the bull out there over the left field monster at the Durham Bulls Park, you get a steak. Here at Newbridge Bank Park, there's a Wranglers sign, and if you hit the sign, you get a pair of Wrangler jeans for free.
Oh, well, I could tell you this, guys. If you got
cut them off later,
and it won't cost you a thing, just do what they do at all the small stadiums in South Carolina in football and in college, just like they do at Wofford, and just build a hill on the baseball stadium behind center field, or if you want to do it around the baselines, and then just pass out pieces of cardboard and watch the kids go up and slide down the hill the whole game. And then that's what you have to do.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to sell beer inside those kid sliding areas there. That'll be the next thing they do.
We got to get in football stadiums before we get it in playgrounds, Corn.
Let's go to George and Easley for our next call. Hi, George. They could sell the kids Kool-Aid. They could, charge them $8 for a pint of Kool-Aid inside those playgrounds. Hey, George, welcome to Sports Talk.
Yes, sir. Quick question concerning some maybe NCAA regulations, rules. I was listening to a show up here in upstate today, and the guy said Taj Boyd took one course his senior year. That course was a online of strength and conditioning. Even though he had graduated, but I thought you had to be a full-time student to participate in intercollegiate athletics. Give me a ruling on that.
Yeah. No, if you've graduated and you're a graduate student, you just have to take. I think you can get by with one course, and I think whether it's online or something on campus, it's probably not. Doesn't matter to them. So if you're a graduate student, you just have to have enough to be in that graduate school that you're in to be eligible to play that season. Am I correct on that, guys? I think I am.
I don't know how many you have to take. I remember Taj at one point. I don't remember the specific classes, but he named more than one. I think he was taking some kind of interpretive dance class and some different things just to fill out his requirements. But it isn't uncommon. I think Matt Leinart was taking a bunch of ballroom dancing classes when he was at Southern Cal his final year. But I can assure you, whatever the amount of classes that Taj Boyd took were the at least the minimum required. They wouldn't have been in violation there. I don't know what it was. I think you do have to take more than one. I think whoever said that might have been misspoken. I do think you might have to take at least 6, maybe 12 hours, but I'm sure Taj and Clemson were in full compliance when it came to that.
Well, I think if you're going on track to graduate and you need a certain number of hours, I think the minimum per semester is 12. But I mean, if you're a graduate student, I don't know whether they count 1 or 2 courses, but you got to remember also that I think because of him being swarmed on campus, Johnny Manziel pretty much took all his courses by way of computer, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. He did.
Online.
Mm-hmm.
All right, going to hit a break, guys, and we'll be back. We'll do the recruiting report coming up.
Hey, K-Mac, you weren't making stuff up. Let's see. This is from the News and Observer. This is a rally. It's talking about there's an article from like 4 days ago talking about NC State and UNC's history in the baseball tournament. And just in one paragraph, it says, with the addition of Pittsburgh and Notre Dame, Syracuse doesn't have a baseball team. The ACC expanded the tournament to 10 teams. The league had originally decided to change back to a double elimination format, but subsequently decided to go back to the pool play format that is used since 2007. So they did at some point decide they were going to go back to pool play. Or excuse me.
Yeah. So no, say that again. Now they had decided they were going to go back to a bracket, and then they reverted at the last minute.
The league had originally decided to change back to a double elimination format, but subsequently decided to go back to the pool play format that it has used since 2007. So essentially, they just expanded it to 10 teams. They were going to go back to a double elimination though. So at some point, they definitely decided
they wanted to get more teams in. So this is going to be it indefinitely. I thought it was going to be a double elimination.
I remember having the talks and the rumblings.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was official. Well, not quite official, but that was the understanding. The league was going to go back to double. I can't say that word. Double elimination.
Yeah.
Point guard. Exum or whatever.
Say what?
Before my time, I don't know.
All right, before we get to recruiting, K-Mac, State Man did a little investigating on the future format for the ACC baseball tournament, and what did he come up with?
Yeah, Pope all over it back in our studios, and I knew I wasn't going crazy that the ACC was going to scrap this format and go back to a double elimination tournament this year. And in fact, a few weeks ago, maybe last month, we were talking about this, and I thought it was going to be double elimination, and we looked it up and we found out it was pool play. They scrapped that at the last minute and decided to expand the tournament and allow 10 teams instead of 8 teams in, and they had those 4 teams at the play-in games yesterday. So that's why we don't have a double elimination, and it looks like this is the plan indefinitely right now unless something else changes.
All right, very good. Let's get to recruiting now here on this Wednesday night from Birmingham, Alabama, Hoover actually, where they have a lot of recruits in this area. Wide receiver Freddie Phillips of Pillion has committed to NC State, did so actually on Monday night and talked to us last night. He had planned to announce today or tonight, but a family situation took precedence over that. He chose the Wolfpack over Wake Forest and North Carolina. South Carolina and Clemson never did jump in and do much with him. Running back Michael Lance Davis, 6 feet 210 of Douglasville, Georgia, 2,473 rushing yards and 27 touchdowns last season. And that's brought in a bevy of offers. Clemson was one of the first. The Tigers have been through the school twice this spring. His coach, Matt Combs, tells us the schools are finding out about him late because he's not a combine guy. He said Clemson is still showing interest. He does not think that he has any particular leaders right now, though Georgia Tech has come on strongly of late. He has visited there along with Clemson, Auburn, and Georgia. His coach says he'll try to make more visits this summer. He wants to make a decision by the end of the summer. Linebacker John Sutton from Swansea, 6 feet 227, one of the state's top prospects for the 2015 class, yet USC Clemson not showing much interest according to Coach Chad Leapart. He camped at Clemson last year and went to 3 of their games, yet neither the Tigers nor the Gamecocks have been by to check in on him this spring. Now, he was hurt last year in the 3rd game of the season, tore his ACL, so Coach said a lot of people dropped off after that happened, including Florida State, Ohio State, and Georgia, but he's healthy now, and North Carolina continues to recruit him hard and is in great shape with him. Leapart said North Carolina is his leader if he had to say one today. He was up there last winter for a basketball game. He expects him to make a commitment, not necessarily North Carolina, but they are the leader. He expects him to make a commitment before the season starts. NC State, Virginia Tech, Duke, Louisville, Tennessee, and Auburn have also offered him, according to his coach. Before the injury, he was he had a very big sophomore year with 75 tackles, 21 for loss, and 6 forced fumbles. And, of course, he missed most of last year. Another player at Swansea to watch out for is wide receiver Craig Johnson, 6'2", 200, 34 catches, 600 yards, and 9 touchdowns last year. And also at linebacker, he had 65 tackles. Offers from Marshall, Charlotte, and Presbyterian. Story out tonight by the LSU 24/7 site on Rasul Clemens, and they're saying that LSU appears to be closing in on getting a commitment from the 6'6", 210-pound Clemens, and he has visited LSU, and he said that he felt very comfortable there. He has begun to form a lead group that he'll focus on. He said LSU is in his top three. He called his top three LSU, Florida State, and Tennessee, and he said Clemson is also in there some as well. But right now he appears to be leaning out of state, LSU, Florida State, and Tennessee. Offensive lineman Jalen Merrick was just offered a little while ago by LSU. He's out of Florida. He's a player South Carolina is strongly recruiting. 2017 receiver Trevon Grimes, who's from Florida, offered by USC, Auburn, and Tennessee. And Clemson just offered wide receiver Therrell Gosher out of Pompano Beach, Florida. He's a 2015 wide receiver. And in basketball, Daniel House, who's transferring from Houston. He has visited USC. CBS Sports reports he's currently visiting Texas A&M. They also report that South Carolina, UCLA, and LSU are in the mix with UNLV now out. He's also visited UCLA. So Texas A&M is the third school he's visiting after having visited USC and having visited UCLA. There you go with the recruiting report. K-Mac, you were snickering in the background, annoyingly.
Oh, no, I had a live tracker on my computer and an advertisement popped up. I was hoping it didn't make it out over the air.
Let's hope it didn't, and we'll be back.
So wait, just to be correct, from what that guy was saying, he said Taj only took one class. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. That's what he said. The guy said. I don't believe that to be true.
But one thing I did find off of like Oregon State's website is the student athlete must have financial. Wait, that's not it. A student athlete who is enrolled in a full-time graduate program needs to carry the amount of credit hours as defined by the institution to be considered full-time. So the institution chooses that, apparently.
And usually that's, but undergrad is 12 hours usually, but for grad they might call that 6 hours.
Well, they probably should for financial aid purposes. It's usually 6 hours to get financial aid because most of them are going to be working.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, I'm sure he was taking a bunch of BS classes, but.
Yeah, but I just think it's unique that the schools actually get to decide. A student athlete who is enrolled in a full-time graduate program needs to carry the amount of credit hours as defined by the institution.
Cool.
So, it fluctuates. Yeah. At Harvard, it's probably 30 hours. What say you, Corn? Harvard?
Say what?
I was asking about Harvard's full-time enrollment. How many hours do you have to take to be full-time there?
3.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Well, that's like Dylan Thompson's doing an internship with Ray Tanner. I don't know if he's getting credit hours for it, but
I'm sure they'll find some somewhere.
He's like the starting quarterback in Ray Tanner's intern.
And in graduate programs, you have assistantships and all that kind of stuff. So Lord knows how they're calculating credits. They'll find a way, though. That's for sure. For your quarterback.
Here we go. Graduate students attend the same school and repurchase within 5 years, subject to the same limited instruction graduates. For more information.
I think
it's difficult. I've looked all over the place. Stand by.
Okay, let's update what's happening here. Kentucky going to the bottom of the 7th and holding on to a 4-2 lead over the Florida Gators in Game 3 here in Hoover. LSU has beaten Vanderbilt in 7 innings, 11-1. Arkansas, they went the full 9 to beat Ole Miss today, 2-1. South Carolina and Mississippi State will be coming up 30 minutes after the conclusion of this game. You want more from your education? Palmetto College offers the quality of a 4-year education online. And to find out more, visit palmettocollege.sc.edu. With Palmetto College, your future has no limits. And Florida gets the leadoff runner on, so they have the tying run at the plate. What's happening in Greensboro, K-Mac?
Florida State on top of North Carolina 1-0 in the third inning. 1-3-0 for the Noles and 0-1-0 for North Carolina. If Florida State loses in this thing today, we'll really have to turn this thing upside down. Everybody that's a higher seed will be losing in this tournament.
Yeah, we've seen that happen before, where the higher seeded teams have been knocked off. In fact, there was a year, I want to say, maybe last year, 2 years ago, where like for the first couple of days in both tournaments, the lower seeded teams found a way to win and had those tournaments turned upside down. What's going on with the Braves tonight, Pro?
They are losing. It was 4-0. The Braves just scratched in a run, so it's 4-1 in the second inning there in Atlanta. Phil, I'm keeping an eye on an interesting story in Charleston at the Southern Conference tournament. Remember, Citadel came from way back yesterday to beat Elon 10-9, I believe. They fell behind 4-0 right off the bat, 4-1, I should say, in the first inning against Davidson, and fell behind more than that. I think 7-1 at one point. Now it's 9-6 in the eighth inning as Citadel just put up a 2 spot, so they're not dead yet. So the Wildcats have some work to do as the Citadel becoming the comeback kids of this tournament, at least early.
I'm sorry, Corn. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was going to shift gears quickly. I know we're running out of time, and say former USC star basketball player Mike Dunleavy has interviewed for the Laker job. That's the first known interview for that job.
Been there, done that, hasn't he?
Had he done that before? Yeah.
He did coach the Lakers. Yeah, he was the coach on the 91 Finals team that lost to Michael Jordan. And he was with
surprised
the Clippers.
You're with us tonight, K-Mac, because 2 nights ago you weren't with us because of the season debut of The Bachelorette. I know you don't ever miss that. And
no, I don't. No.
Last night you weren't with us because of the last singing stage of American Idol. I know you never missed that.
Big fan of that.
And I'm surprised you're with us tonight with them announcing the winner. Who's your pick tonight in the announcement of the American Idol winner? Who's your pick?
I couldn't name one person. I don't know if I could name anybody from the past few seasons. Kelly Pickler. She's still on there?
I'm going with the girl. Yeah, just it's always safe to go with the girl.
The girl. Okay, I'm going with the girl.
Just go with the girl. All right, that'll do it. Don't forget, check out our post-game coverage of USC Mississippi State tonight on the website. We thank you for being with us. Thank you, State Man, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Oh.